Hi, my name is Stacey Morier, and I'm the founding lawyer of Estate Connection Law Office in St. Albert, Alberta. We're a wills and estates law firm that focuses on estate planning and probate documents. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about organ donation. I've been practicing law for 21 years in the province of Alberta, and over the course of my time, I have actually had the ability to meet several people who have been the recipients of organ donation. And it is remarkable just to hear their story about how they went from someone who was ill and couldn't do anything to someone who was, maintaining and going about society. And it's really heartwarming to know that, someone who has passed on gave them that gift. And I can tell you from personal experience talking to them that they're very thankful they got that second gift of life. So I wanted to chat a little bit about organ donation, what you need to do to include it in your documents, and what you should be thinking about when you're considering doing that. So in Alberta, we do have an organ donation registry. Many of you will have a little heart on your license, your driver's license, and that is to indicate to people that you are an organ donor. Some people, though, haven't had the opportunity to renew their license or weren't asked about that when they did. And so they need to incorporate it in other ways if they're not going to get their driver's license redone. And so for those reasons, at our office, we put organ donation both in the will as well as the personal care directive. And there is a reason for that. Most donations will happen when someone is considered brain dead, which is no activity to the brain. And there are tests that they do to determine that. However, there are certain situations where you could have a living donor. I understand that it's very rare, but just to get around all that confusion, I put it in both places. That way, it's not a question of who should be making that decision when they're approached at the hospital. It's very clear that, it's in the documents and this is what that person wants. So a couple things to be aware of if you're looking at doing organ donation. A lot of people come into my office and they're like, I'm too old to be an organ donate my organs. The research I've looked at says they've done things for 90-year-olds like lungs. I believe the oldest was 70 for kidneys. Skin, my husband, he was involved in an industrial fire and had skin grafts. Of course, they were from his own body, but I can tell you if he wouldn't have been able to do it himself, he would have needed that. And so, old skin is better than no skin. So it's something that anyone can do at any age. There are some concerns, though, about people that have some kind of diseases like HIV, cancer, hepatitis, I think it's B and C. So people that fall into those categories or have brain tumors, they may not want to take your organs. A couple other things to consider when looking at doing organ donation. You can say if you want to only do certain organs. For some reason, people don't like to donate their eyes, and I'm really not clear on that. I guess it's the window to the soul. They'll say, I donate everything but my eyes. For people that need those in their body, it is an important organ, but you can decide what you want to do if you don't want to donate certain organs. As well, it's important to be aware that if you donate your body to science, you can't do organ donation. When you donate your body to science, they want the entire body. They don't want bits and pieces missing. Sometimes they will do it, I understand, for eyeballs. They will allow those to come out of the body because they're not needed for anatomy, but that's kind of a one-off. The other thing is not everybody can donate their body to science. So if you, the only way to donate your body to science is essentially if you die in a hospital or on life support. If you happen to fall asleep at home and are in your bed, you're likely not going to be a candidate for organ donation. If you're in a car accident, depending on how they find you, you may not qualify because you won't have made it to the hospital and be on those ventilators. So, even though you put it in your documents, it's not everybody who's a candidate. I know one of the most heartwarming stories I ever heard was someone who had a heart transplant in my office. He didn't have the transplant in my office, but he had one in the past and was talking to me. And he had told me about how it changed his life and changed his personality. Foods he hated before he now liked. Certain things that never really touched him. He was a very burly guy, now made him cry. TELUS commercials made him cry, the ones with the animals. And from his research of what had happened on that day, he felt he had ended up with the heart of a 16-year-old girl. And when he did a little research into her, he realized that some of her favorite foods he now liked, whereas he hated them before. So it's kind of interesting how your body can take on some of those attributes from the organ donor. a donator. It's, I guess, a way to eternally live forever. Anyway, if you have questions or concerns about organ donation, I would look at the Government of Alberta website. They have some great materials, and consider putting it in your documents, even if you have it on your driver's license. Depending on the circumstance, they may not have access to that. And it's just great for your loved ones to know what your wishes are, and talk to your loved ones so that if they get that call in the middle of the night, they know what the answer is. There's nothing worse than someone trying to track me down at home and ask me, did my dad say anything about whether he wanted his liver to be donated? Those are the types of calls that we never like. So make sure your loved ones know so they can do what you want if you're in that predicament. Questions or concerns about putting organ donation in your document? Contact a State Connection Law Office. We're here to help.